You're watching Netrush Report, your home for tennis drama, legends, and the rising stars who keep this sport unforgettable. If you love the stories behind the matches and the rivalries that shape tennis history, don't forget to subscribe and join the rush. Roger Federer, 20-time Grand Slam champion, global icon, and a man whose elegance on court was only matched by his respect off it, recently sat down with none other than Nigerian superstar Burna Boy. The debate? Who really is the greatest of all time in tennis? During this lighthearted yet insightful chat, Burna Boy jokingly brought up an assumption many fans have whispered for years. Does Roger Federer not like Rafael Nadal? Burna Boy pointed to Nadal as one of his favorite players, but also teased Federer about supposedly not being the Spaniard's biggest fan. Federer's response? A smile, a quick shake of the head, and the words, "I like Rafael Nadal." No hesitation, no drama. Just Federer being Federer, graceful, humble, and brutally honest in his own quiet way. But he didn't stop there. Federer used the opportunity to shine a light on Nadal's career, calling him not just a rival, but a giant of the game. And if there's anyone who knows just how giant Nadal truly is, it's Federer. After shutting down the Nadal dislike myth, Federer was asked the million-dollar question, who are your GOATs? Now, this is where things get really interesting. Federer didn't name himself, and he didn't immediately crown either Nadal or Djokovic. Instead, he went back in time, naming Stefan Edberg, Boris Becker, and Pete Sampras as the idols who inspired him when he was a kid. Stefan Edberg, the Swede whose serve and volley artistry shaped Federer's own style. Boris Becker, the German powerhouse who redefined aggression on court. Pete Sampras, the American who set the gold standard with his 14 Grand Slam titles. For Federer, Sampras takes the number 3 spot in his all-time list. But the conversation didn't end there. He made it clear that his fiercest rivals, Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic, also belong in that GOAT conversation. Think about that for a second. Federer is not only acknowledging his rivals, he's putting them in the same breath as his childhood heroes. That's not just humility. It's respect carved out of 15 years of epic battles across all surfaces. Fast forward to the French Open 2025. It wasn't about Federer this time. It was about Nadal, the king of clay, who had finally hung up his racket after his last official match at the 2024 Davis Cup Finals. Roland Garros, the site of his 14 titles, held an emotional farewell ceremony that left fans in tears. And guess who was there? Federer, along with Novak Djokovic and Andy Murray. It was a symbolic moment. The Big Four together, celebrating the man who reigned supreme in Paris for nearly 2 decades. Federer, standing on the same soil where Nadal had denied him glory so many times, had nothing but admiration in his words. Speaking to Mary Jo Fernandez on TNT, Federer said simply, "Those words hit differently when you realize they came from the man who stood across the net during Nadal's rise, battled him in some of the greatest finals in tennis history, and shared not just rivalry, but friendship." Of course, as Federer and Nadal now watch from the sidelines, there's only one active titan left, Novak Djokovic. Djokovic continues to chase history, adding to his record-breaking Grand Slam tally and cementing himself as the most statistically dominant player in tennis. His next stop? The 2025 Shanghai Masters. It's fitting that as Djokovic carries the torch, Federer and Nadal have transitioned into their roles as elder statesmen of the game, mentors, legends, and eternal icons whose legacies are untouchable. So why does Federer's statement about Nadal matter so much? Because it reminds us of the human side of rivalries. For years, fans split into Team Federer or Team Nadal. The battles were fierce, the emotions raw, and the stakes massive. But behind the scenes, there was always mutual respect. Federer didn't just admire Nadal's forehand, stamina, or mental strength. He admired Nadal the person. And Nadal, in turn, has always praised Federer's elegance, leadership, and sportsmanship. Their rivalry wasn't about hatred. It was about pushing each other to the absolute limits, making tennis richer, and giving fans moments that will never be forgotten. So here's the takeaway. Roger Federer does like Rafael Nadal. In fact, he respects him so much that he includes him among the greatest players to ever touch a racket. And when Federer calls you a giant of the game, that's not just a compliment. That's a legacy stamp. As Nadal steps into retirement, and Federer enjoys his, the torch now burns in Djokovic's hands. But no matter how the record books end, the story of Federer and Nadal will forever be remembered as one of the greatest rivalries and friendships in the history of sports. You've been watching Netrush Report, where we bring you the stories behind the legends. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Federer, Nadal, and the eternal GOAT debate, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Until next time, keep loving the game and keep chasing the rush.